Hey, what's up, guys? Benji here with Benji Johnson Catching. So I wanted to go through a breakdown of this throw from Martin Maldonado when he was with the Brewers. I think that Martin is probably one of the best catch and throw guys in the big leagues. He does some really good things that I do not see a lot of other guys do. So I want to point out some of the key things that I think he does really well that help him be such a good thrower. Obviously, he's extremely just naturally gifted and has an extremely strong arm, and not everybody has that. But I do want to point out the things that I think he does really well, and I think if you implement these into your game, they will help your game significantly. So the first thing that I want to take a look at is going to be his setup, so how he starts. Everybody has their secondary start, the way they like to start in their secondary stance, and a lot of guys look different in how they set up. Martin chose a little bit wider base than I see a lot of guys. His knees are a little bit spread open, and he has an offset stance with his feet, with the right foot. Not only is it stepped back a little bit, it's also slightly open, which I really like, because I think that allows him to really drive into the ground from that leg and drive himself out of the crouch into the ball, and then kind of propels him into the throw. So you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second as I scroll through here. But this angle that you see with his right foot, having it set back and slightly open, that's going to help him do this drive right here that we're seeing. So because he's already offset with his lower half, he's slightly open there. As he starts to push with that right leg, what you see is it looks like he's twisting, but he's not trying to twist, right? So as he pushes with that right leg and he is offset with his lower half, that pushes the energy from right to left, which causes this turn of his lower half. A lot of players are, when they go through their throw, they actually attempt to turn themselves rather than just using their setup to generate a natural turn. So because of his setup, because he's offset with his feet and he's driving through with that right leg, you see the hips start to go to the left. So I'm looking right here and at his hips as he starts to drive with his lower half. Okay, so watch this area here. You'll see this right to left movement that's causing his lower half to turn. Okay, so you see that initial turn there. Okay, that initial turn is a forward drive. He is driving through his right leg, or from his right leg through his left knee. Okay, that generates the turn. That allows him to be a little bit straighter and more directional on his move to second base instead of so rotational, which you see a lot of young players do. So he's driving through here, and the second thing I want to point out is how much he came off of his feet by the time he caught the ball. So a lot of young players, what they do and what they're taught actually is to catch the ball first and then get up and throw it, or catch a strike first and then throw it. I don't necessarily agree with that teaching. I played professionally for 7 years. I played in college for 3. And in those 10 years, I don't think I came across a single pitcher who would rather give up an out to get a strike. Okay, so what that means is they were okay with me coming out of the crouch early in order to give myself a much better chance to get the out at second base, even though I risked losing a strike. So it's okay to give up a strike in order to gain an out. Okay, so we see that he is significantly tall here, right? He is out of his crouch, almost fully standing up here, out of his crouch at the point of catch. Now, not everybody's going to be at the same level, but you do want to have some type of movement like this into the catch itself. The next thing I want you to pay attention to, we're going to look at his right foot. Okay, so we're actually going to start to look at his right foot now. Okay, so I'm locked in right there on that right foot. Okay, the ball is here. Okay, it's not in the mitt yet. Next frame, ball hits the mitt, right foot has started to move. Okay, that right foot may be moving because he's attempting and trying to move it. It may not be. In my opinion, his right foot is moving because it's following his mass. His mass is his lower half is from his knees up to his waist, and then all the way up to his armpits. So you can think knees to armpits as the largest amount of mass in the human body, and that's what he is propelling forward, and the feet have to follow that. So you got his mass off his feet in an explosive way. So then when the ball hits the mitt, then his feet are able to move much quicker and much sooner. He may be attempting to move his right foot here. I can't speak to that because I'm not him. But I do know if you drive off your feet well, then your feet naturally have to move. And that's what I like to teach guys that I train. So we see the right foot is starting to move at the point of catch, okay? That momentum was built up prior to the catch, and then we're seeing that momentum now being utilized through the catch. Okay, so the other thing let's pay attention to is going to be what I call right hand, right foot. Okay, so right hand, right foot, right hand, right foot, over and over, right hand, right foot, right hand, right foot. So what I mean by that is right hand here, okay, ball is going into the right hand, and right foot is getting into the ground simultaneous. Okay, so right hand, right foot working together. Okay, let's stay here for just a second now. Okay, so let's watch this entire heel plant. So there. All right, now we're at full heel plant with the right foot. He is what we call stacked in this position. So he is stacked over his backside here. Right shoulder, right hip, right knee, all stacked over the right foot. And he's got his head back too. He's not pushing himself forward yet. Okay, so he is stacked on that backside. Okay, he is hinged really well at the hip. Okay, so we see a hinge at this hip, and he's hinged at this knee. Okay, he's also hinged on the front, but I'm more concerned with his hinge in the back. So he's hinged here. He's doing a good job with his hips. And then we're going to see the separation happen as he strides out. Okay, we also see, because of this hinged position here, we see that his hips are staying at I call it a medium height level. So he's not standing straight up. He's also not squatting way down. He's right there in the middle. Okay. And we see good separation of the hands here as he strides out. And as he strides out, you'll notice that he stays over his backside really well. Okay, so he's still stacked right here. So if I draw that line again, from his ear down, okay, he is still stacked. Right ear, right shoulder. The hips have slid forward a little bit, still stacked over the right knee. Okay. And then as we progress forward into the front foot strike, we see that his hips are still fairly square. They have started to open slightly, but the belt buckle, if you look at the belt buckle here, is still on us, facing us. He is still over his backside, and now he's going to launch himself into and through the front leg. A lot of young players miss this. They do not launch themselves through their front side. They launch over their front side. So imagine there's a wall here. Okay. So imagine that front leg is slamming into that wall, and he is launching through. He's trying to throw the ball through this wall. Many young players will take this front leg and actually push themselves up. And what that causes is the energy to go up this way over the wall. And you see like a lollipop type throw instead of a ball that carries through their target. Okay, so we see a good chest drive through here after foot plant. Chest drives through. He's going down through the front leg. We see his release point gets out front. So he does a great job with his release point here. A lot of young players will actually have their release point happen where I just drew this circle. They'll be standing straight up. So that's what I was saying just a second ago. When they try to throw over that wall instead of through it, they end up having a release point that's much deeper, and then that causes the ball to be higher on them when they throw it. The other thing we'll pay attention to is at the point of release, his right foot is still on the ground. This is not something that everybody has to do, but it's definitely noticeable here with Martin. Okay, so his right foot stays down as he drives through, so that tells me he's really staying down through his lower half. He's working through the ground and getting a lot of energy out of the ground. That's called ground reaction force. So the energy that you displace into the ground will come back up through your body and then work out of your hand as you throw the ball if you do it properly. And because he maintained such good stability here with the front leg, so if you just watch his front leg, maintains really good stability here. That's what gives him that good ground reaction force. So if we draw a line here from the front knee down to the heel, we notice that knee does not, and Actually, the camera's moving, so it's going to be hard to see this. But if you pay attention to his front knee as I frame through here, 1, 2, 3, 4 frames, 5 frames, 6 frames, we never see that knee go forward. Okay, so the relationship of that knee, front knee to the front heel, the knee did not go in front of the front heel. So that's exactly what we want to see. So he's able to utilize ground reaction force. The other thing, the last thing that I want to point out, last two things I want to point out. One, look at his vision. Vision's downfield. He's doing a great job of staying on target with his vision. And then number two, the last thing that I want to point out is look where his hand gets. So he does a great job of getting down through his throw here. He almost got his hand down to his knee. He's one of the best at getting through his throws like this. A lot of young players, because what I said earlier, they tend to try to throw up and over instead of through. They end up finishing with their hand about this level, about waist height. So they're not really getting all the way through their throw. They're not getting the carry or the power that they could get. So thanks for listening to this quick analysis of Martin Maldonado. If you would like analyses of your throws compared to big leaguers, or just an analysis where you would like some help on your throw to get feedback on where you are and what you could work on, how you could improve, then just email me at benji@benjijohnsoncatching.com and we can get you signed up for that.